Fuck black history, ain't no black history. This ain't black history, this ain't that you'll see. They don't know about me, you don't know about me. They gon' know about me, you gon' know about me. See, I am not a slave, I was born to slide, I am not afraid. Hop about the K, oh yeah, free to God, they went out of state. I'm a child of God, I do not belong to the United States. Fuck black history, tell Uncle Sam he can catch a fade. I went to hell, school, graduated at the top of my class. Still never thought I was over my peers. We did that time together 12 years. Ain't that some movie? I think that it is. They won't control me, I'm really a member. I traveled that road, I came back with the jewels for 'em. When I pull up, they peep how the roof gone. We some dog killers, won't chew bones. Know we all spit 'em, we supreme. Somewhere I read a nigga had a dream. Did them dirty, they keep playing back that same to us, but it bullshit. If you win the battle, you can tell the story and delete whoever, get whoever glory. Hope you listen closely, this ain't metaphor. This is straight up real and I prepared you for it. MLK was a motherfucking agent. At first he ain't know it, cause really they played him. They showed him the front of the building, they tell him the back was burning. But the secret they gave him, he tried to reveal it. Go back and listen to that I Have a Dream and the speed that he gave on the night before they killed him. He climbed up that mountain and seen the promised land. That boy was a Mason. By writing, they sealed them documents forever. But I know Masons in Atlanta know better. They said he would kill cause of prejudice, yeah, but they lied to you. Here I come with that shovel on, yelling fuck black history. Ain't no black history, so they gon' know about me. You gon' know about me. See, I am not a slave, I was born to slide, I am not afraid. Hop about that K, oh yeah, free the guys, they went out of state. Yeah, I'm a child of God, I do not belong to the United States. Yeah, fuck black history, tell Uncle Sam he can catch a fade. They don't want you to remember this. You not no slave, you indigenous. Fuck how they painted them Indians. You went to war with the French and the British, man. Quite frankly, you was kings Merovingians. They took the women and men, made them prisoners, raised up the children to worship their images, set up a lab to the genes and they mixed them, and this shit get way deeper than your pigment. What if I told you you was born sovereign and all you ever had to do was admit this shit? What if I told you that this was your ancestor land? That mean that they was the immigrants. Wait, I think that someone tried to explain that 100 years later. The Negro was still in exile in his own land. Natural birthright, Malcolm X style. What was Holmes saying? That's the curse, right? Fuck black history, ain't no black history. This ain't black history, this ain't that you'll see. They don't know about me, you don't know about me. They gon' know about me, you gon' know about me. See, I am not a slave, I was born to slide, I am not afraid. Hop about the K, oh yeah, free to God, they went out of state. I'm a child of God, I do not belong to the United States. Fuck black history, tell Uncle Sam he can catch a fade. I went to hell, school, graduated at the top of my class. Still never thought I was over my peers. We did that time together 12 years. Ain't that some movie? I think that it is. They won't control me, I'm really a member. I traveled that road, I came back with the jewels for 'em.
Yep. Wild Indian, yeah.
Hey, V, line them up.
I'm a wild Indian, you know I go crazy. Ain't really Indian, that boy fugazi. I just keep it player, you can never play me. You got an ass so fat, girl, let's make a baby. And another one. Then I'm back to the trap, I'm trying to double some. She a bad woke chick and I love her tongue. We some jurisdiction boys, we some one-on-ones. Look, don't compare me to no Martin dog, I'm like Malcolm X. Job about our freedom, we'll leave a crack a stretch. Round of applause, boy, you know we clapping text. Chucky dog, child play, yeah, nigga, that's what's next. Open up the cans just like Arizona. Pull up masked up like we got the Rona. We set up jurisdictions when we buy the corner. How you claiming that's your hood and you not the owner? Be the beat, I just pulled up in the need for speed. Free the land, tell the colonizers that they need to leave. Wild Indian up in my veins, you know how we bleed. You ain't gotta lie about who we is, dog, just keep it G. We at war, we can't keep the peace. Since we at war, gotta keep the peace. Whack a cone, then I meditate. Should I need to breathe? Keep a Olmec head when we slide, dog, cause we the shit.
Like my niggas said, bitch, we the shit. I can't keep the peace. If it pop off, then I want a piece. I'm just on release. I'm in go mode, motherfucker thief. In these streets like EBT, when we at war, make peace with me. I don't give a damn, understand. Fuck who stole this land, white or black or tan. Understand, it's fuck who stole this land. Might have seen me get little buddy these hands. He wasn't no Apple man. A lot of these dudes is Sambo man. They full of shit like my ammo can. What they call an N-word out the wrong mouth as an ambulance. Wild Indian, get it in advance, or you can post date it. Ask around, I'm the most hated. Straight sacred, they so acreage. Yo, ape shit, show ain't shit. It won't be televised, I don't tape shit.
Be the B, I just pulled up in the need for speed. Free the land, tell the colonizers that they need to leave. Wild Indian up in my veins, you know how we bleed. You ain't gotta lie about who we is, dog, just keep it G. We at war, we can't keep the peace. Since we at war, gotta keep the peace. Whack a cone, then I meditate. Should I need to breathe? Keep a Olmec here when we slide, dog, cause we the sheep.
Say I'm hustling and I'm grinding. I'm making moves with my money on my mind, and I can't fall short. Always keep it thousand, slow mo. Say I'm hustling and I'm grinding. I'm making moves with my money on my mind, and I can't fall short. Always keep it thousand, slow mo.
Peace and love, everybody. Peace to the family. Welcome to the show. Okay. I'm excited. I'm just chilling. You know, it's a vibe right now. I just pretty much wanted to come through real quick and give my thoughts about what's taking place in Chicago. And, you know, I think that it's been a lot of, in my opinion, a lot of misinformation that's been thrown out there about what's really going on, why ICE is there, different things like that. So I think that briefly what needs to happen is that we take a walk down memory lane, because less than a year ago, I remember the Chicago residents being extremely upset and unnerved by the fact that millions or hundreds of thousands of illegal migrants, in particular Venezuelan migrants, were being placed in their communities and displacing them. So I want to get into that first, you know, because I think when it's like, when as soon as they go into a so-called black neighborhood, it's all this, oh, they're trying to deport Black Americans. They're trying to deport that. No, none of that is the truth. And I think that people do need to understand what it means to be like detained and what it means to be arrested and all of that stuff. I think that there's a lot of misconceptions going around out there. We know that this particular neighborhood in Chicago that ICE was on, we know they have one of the biggest influx of these Venezuelan migrants. So real quick, let's just go down memory lane real quick, and then I will talk about some of the more current things that's going on when we're talking about this particular situation. See, what I find interesting is that the ICE people, the DEA, National Security, Homeland Security, all of these folks, when they were in DC, because I haven't seen much of them lately, but when they were in DC, they weren't running up in our in the apartment buildings or anything like that. They weren't doing that. I mean, if there was any word that there were illegal migrants living in these apartment complexes, I'm sure that would have been a bigger issue. Okay. So I think that, you know, it's easy to have these, you know what I'm saying, to take any type of any type of narrative and kind of try to run with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, here we have the city of Chicago, who spent millions and millions of dollars on these illegal migrants. We got to be real. And the people of Chicago were not happy about this. They were not happy about this happening. So, and I believe that this was the South Shore neighborhood that this raid took place in. So hold up real quick. Let me just start to share some of these stories that took place like months ago, a year or two ago. I think that we have to get things back into perspective here, because it's easy to run with a false narrative. But before I do that, let me shout out the chat. Carper Goddess, of course, my big sis, love you down. The Enemy's Public with Field Marshal, Brother Nasir. Beautiful song. I meant to play it. I'll play it as I tag out today. Tim Washington, thank you so much for the love and support as always. Holy Zoli Toli, thank you for the love and support as always. Okay. Focus Mind, thank you so much, baby. You know you my day one, A1, okay? Of course, Epic Studies. Brilliant mind there. Peace to you, Epic. Yep. So shout out to everybody, okay? Oh, you True Food? What's True Food in the chat? Anyway, let me just stick to what it is I'm trying to do here. Let me just share the screen, and then we can get into this, because I think people really forget what was happening in Chicago prior.
Action about a forgotten community that none of you live in.
Developing tonight, outbursts and outrage at a community meeting in South Shore over a housing plan for migrants.
The debate comes as the city deals with the crisis of where to put migrants bussed in from the border.
Elizabeth Matthews is live now with more. Elizabeth.
Corey and Don, contentious to say the least. This forum was a chance for city leaders to get input from the public about the old South Shore High School housing migrants. The city got their input.
A packed house at the South Shore International College Prep High School. The crowd voicing their opinion, strongly opposing the addition of migrants in their community.
I am just outraged. I'm outraged, and I don't understand why our community was chosen.
City representatives saying the old South Shore High School would not be a shelter, but one of 3 respite centers for the migrants to temporarily sleep, eat, and take a shower, starting with about 250 people taking up the building's first floor. This is a way for the city to get the current 300 migrants out of the police stations. Questions were asked, but answers hard to hear, interrupted by the upset crowd. Before the meeting, a small protest of South Shore neighbors demanding the energy put into the migrant issue be put into their neighborhoods.
It is a slap in the face that we as citizens of the United States of America do not have the resources and support, but you're going to bring people who are not citizens here in our community, in our buildings that we pay taxes for, that you took away from us. Yeah. That is completely unacceptable. We are in a humanitarian crisis right now. The Black people in Chicago are bleeding on the streets.
Mayor-elect Brandon Johnson had this to say about the migrant crisis.
We have a responsibility to make sure that families who are seeking love and support here in the city of Chicago and throughout the state of Illinois, that they are not just welcome, but they are serviced.
Wow.
So is this a done deal? A spokesperson for Mayor Lori Lightfoot's office says this is a possible solution, but still a fluid situation. Reporting live tonight, Elizabeth Matthews, Fox 32, Chicago.
Okay, so we're going to start there. The people wasn't having it.
Ladies and gentlemen, if we could go ahead and if we tune it in to do so. Auntie, I work for the Chicago Park District for the North Region, and I'm here to support the staff for Amundsen Park and the surrounding parks.
I'm the commander of the 25th District.
Commissioner Torres.
My name is John Robertson. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for the City of Chicago.
First, start off by saying thank everyone for coming out. This, in my opinion, has been one of the most difficult situations that we've had in the city of Chicago. This past Friday, and so that I could chronologically let you know as far as what I have found out. This past Friday, I spoke to the mayor's office, the mayor's deputy mayor, or the deputy chief of staff, who informed me Friday morning that we were going to have a shelter at this particular location. You're gonna be allowed to speak. And is the speaker, when I spoke with the deputy chief of staff, she informed me that we would have this shelter here at this location, and I strongly object to it, and I object to it now. And I'm not saying that, and I'm not saying that because I want your applause. I'm saying that because we cannot take a resource from our community. I have told the mayor this, I've told the superintendent of our parks this, and I will state it to the top of the roof. We cannot take resources from the Black community, a community invested in. Now, I say this, those seniors that come to this park know that I come here the fourth Thursday of every month with them. I know of the programming that's in this park, but there's so many other reasons why this park should not, and not just this park, but any park should not be converted to a migrant shelter. First of all, we deal with security issues. Now, particularly in this area, our police officers have been working tirelessly to help reduce violence in the Amundsen Park area, in the North Austin area. And this, by no way, helps them in their efforts in reducing crime. I say, secondly, I believe in a democracy. I believe in a democratic process that says before you make these decisions need to be brought to the community. Now, I will say this. There's some out there that say, we want to see the email. I can show you every email I have. You come sit down with me, I will go through every email. But there are no emails with regard to this.
By Saturday. Welcome to the good evening, everyone. I'll show you how disrespectful this is. On the 5 o'clock news, they projected that the migrants would be here by Saturday. Welcome to the welcoming city. Well, I got to tell you, only certain areas are welcoming. That's us. They want us. They say they want to use this park, but let me tell you, LaSalle Street, Clark Street, all the office buildings, nobody wants to be in the loop anymore. They all want to move west because of new buildings with better amenities. Those buildings are empty right now with water, heat, and everything. But they don't want the migrants down there. We're not anti-migrants, but this is so disrespectful for them to just sit up here with this crap and we're supposed to listen to it. You know what? If you would had your right mind and see a crowd like this, you would say to yourself, they don't want it. But no, these politicians, they think that they can just do everything. And see, another thing is you all's representative, I can say what I want to say because I take nothing from them. I don't need nothing from them. Okay? They have disrespected us, our community. They're going to tell us and just shove it down our throats. And we're supposed to like it. Yeah, you all are sitting there. And another thing, they do not have a plan. And so many migrants come in, they say, let's take this. Let's take that. Now you see a viable park here that's functioning well in a nice area. Say this was a bad area, they wouldn't be here. Okay? Another thing I want you to understand how we support this park. This park needed air conditioners. You think we went to the park district? No, because we don't need them. We bought them. Supplied this whole park. They needed a stove and a refrigerator. We did it, the Advisory Council. They needed a microwave. We give Christmas parties, and I don't ask these politicians for a dime. And this place is packed. See, they don't like people like me because I'm not taking their crap. And Brandon Johnson and Mayor and Alderman Terry Farrell, they wear this hat, and it's there. And all this crap about I just got to notice that. Well, if they don't give you that much respect as alderman, you don't need to be alderman. Okay? So don't drink the Kool-Aid. There are ample places in this city that the migrants can up the health issue, the shots that they haven't had. They're going to set this city back a long ways with this crap that they're doing. Just throwing people in. They don't give a In New York, half the hospitals are full with migrants. They can't get away to. Now, I don't mind, and we're not anti-migrants, but it shouldn't be on our backs. All right, this is our part.
Mr. Glover, thank you so much for your comment.
And I want to say something to you all. And when you leave here, stop depending on the politicians. And stop voting for the same people getting the same results.
Go ahead, Mr.
What's those two words? What's that one? What? Now, one of the things a couple things I'm gonna point out to you real quick, because he said it all. I can't do any better behind
Guys,
him.
listen up and give Mr. Trust an opportunity.
Again, one thing about this is Chicago Park District facility. You have a Chicago Park District Board of Commissioners. They never voted on turning this into a migrant center. So, yes, thank you. Looking at tax bill. And it's like they don't even go through the process of going through the Board of Commissioners, not going through the community and doing this to us. See, people talk about, and I'm going to defer some of my time to my wife, is the fact, I always try to talk before her because I never want to go behind her. But people got to talk about the fact, it's like, they ain't taking nothing away from you. It's enough for all of us. No, it's not. No, it's not. Now they're taking away an asset that people worked 30 years. My buddy worked years to put together programs that they're taking away from us, black people, with a black mayor, can't miss that point, from this community. And it's like, what insanity, what are we gonna hear from them that's gonna change our minds from no and not taking out our part? And the last thing I ask of you, please call Anthony Bill, call all the aldermen and say support Alderman Anthony's bill ordinance for a referendum on whether Chicago remain a sanctuary city.
All right.
And think about it. This bill is not, it's not to say kick off the migrants that's already here. It's to a point we just got to say no. Because if you all got a $500 million, because it's $300 million now, and by Christmas in January, it's going to be $500 million. Now, if you got $500 million laying around, I want to be in your family, first of all. I want to be your third cousin once removed. But the reality is, it's got to say no, because that's the simple solution is no. Turn the buses around.
Mr. Trush, you got about 15 seconds left.
Thank you.
Hold on, Ms. Trush, hold on before you start. Hold on.
Now, y'all, real quick. Now, listen, the South Shore neighborhood, this is the same apartment complex that the ICE agents raided the other night to get them Venezuelan gangs. Okay, so we have to remember and keep it in perspective that a year ago, or a little less than a year ago, the residents of Chicago were not here. Excuse me, y'all. We're not here for the antics that were going on and that was taking place. And I think that people miss that when they want to go out here and spew misinformation. Oh, they were doing, I ain't see no photos or no nothing of them taking black kids in zip ties and all of that. But that's what they said happened. But I didn't see no video of that. But I did see video of them taking those other folks up out of there with zip ties. And if people were detained, they were let go immediately. Like, usually when something like that takes place, it's like a lot of people will experience something that they shouldn't have to experience because there's a bunch of people around that should not be around and that should not be in this country at this moment in time. But a year ago, they did not want this.
We have about 60 speakers. So we do have a counter up here to give you an opportunity to get your message out so that we can take this message back to the mayor. Ms. Carter Trust, go ahead.
I want you to take a look around this room. I want you to pay attention because, see, I want Mayor Brandon Johnson to understand that you're selling us out for people who can't vote for you. We are the voters. We stood with you. And now you stand and you slap us in the face. I tell you what, tomorrow we're going to punch you in the face at the polling places. We won't stand for this. We say no.
Thank you.
Because you care. We are not, just give me a moment, please. Please. We are not here this evening to tell you how you should feel. We're not here to dismiss your feelings. The reason that we are here this evening is to provide you with the information to understand how we got here and how and why we are presenting this information. We're not going to get anywhere, folks, yelling at each other. And I'm not going to yell. And so what I want to do this evening is I want to lay out for you the facts. And I want to explain to you how we got here and where we have to go. Okay? So that's how we're going to start.
You want to keep trying this? I'm going to tell you. I don't think this is going to work. On with public comments. Let me get your attention. Guys, hold down a little bit because I want to go right back into public speaking, give folks opportunity to be heard. If you do have any questions also for any of the panelists, you can ask them a question when you step up to the microphone. You can't ask them a question. But I will say the next speaker, come on forward. The next speaker. Oh.
We got a list. Well, okay, we're doing 5 at a time.
Where's Laurel Steele?
No, Danielle Hayes.
Oh.
Danielle Hayes is the next.
Okay, Danielle Hayes. Who's Danielle Hayes?
Danielle Hayes. Put it in order, baby. We got it in order. We got it right. Put it in order.
Danielle Hayes, Laurel Steele, followed by Bertha Frazier. Miss Bertha Frazier.
And James Frazier.
And then James Frazier.
Man, come on now.
So Danielle, you can go ahead.
Hello. Danielle Steele is from, okay, go ahead.
Laurel Steele.
Go ahead.
I'll be short, Mama.
Okay.
Just let me
No,
say
I'm not gonna be short too. I ain't gonna say no long.
But they call my name though.
I'm the first one. I'm Laurel Steele.
Them wearing that dashiki diabolical.
Okay.
That's a diabolical
City guys.
dashiki.
You guys, the
So that's
residents
us.
of this city owns the parks.
So why are we having this argument then? We should be able to make a decision.
Say that again, ma'am.
Why are we in here arguing about this? If we own this park, we should be able to make the decision.
I agree with you
That's just like
110%.
anything. Like I own my house, I make a decision about my house. If this is our park, we should be able to make a decision about it.
This community should have been a part of the public engagement before this decision was made.
Right.
I agree with you on that. Go ahead.
And what's crazy is that they made the decision. They didn't give a goddamn about the people who were already there at all. And meanwhile, they want to sit up here and fend and defend this nonsense going on right now. Like it's a bad thing. Because they wasn't just gonna leave. They wasn't just gonna leave. That's not how that was gonna play out.
Gangs to enter our country.
The migrants that are coming, they're taking over every block right now.
The city of Chicago is going to go up in smoke. It's going to go up in flame.
Gangs in Chicago are angry over the influx of migrants and criminals in their city. They say money that should be going to the African American community on the South Side is instead going to what they call non-citizens, and warn that turf wars between Chicago's gangs and groups like Venezuela's Tren de Aragua could see Chicago, quote, go up in flames. Photographer Matt McDermott and I traveled to Chicago's South Side to see what was happening for ourselves after we heard about a police report last month that the Tren de Aragua gang had taken over an office building there. We spoke to a number of young, hardcore gang members, as well as gang elders who have retired from the life, and just regular citizens who are very much part of the community. And they're all furious at the estimated $500 million that's reportedly been funneled toward new migrants in Chicago since 2022. And they aren't happy either about what they say are Venezuelan criminal gangs that are leaving the shelters and spilling out into the South Side into abandoned buildings. I spoke to Tyrone Muhammad of Ex-Cons for Trump, who runs a street patrol and violence prevention program. He's gone straight since his days as an enforcer for the Gangster Disciples. And he said the situation is very tense on the South Side as turf battles between the local gangs and Venezuelan migrants heat up.
It is impossible to release gang members and criminals into our country through the borders and broken walls, and then infiltrate them in our community that's already impoverished, that's already broken, that's already disinvested. And when the black gangs, the leadership in the black gangs in Chicago get fed up with the illegalities and the criminal activity of these migrants or non-citizens, the city of Chicago is going to go up in smoke, it's going to go up in flame, and there's going to be nothing that the National Guard or our government can do about it when the bloodshed hit the streets, blacks against migrants.
Zach Massey did time in state prison with Tyrone Muhammad, although he's only 27. He's a leader on the streets and said he's disgusted by the money going to Venezuelan migrants at the expense, he says, of the African American community.
I finally actually talked to him on the translator app, and he told me all the things that he got going on, how they help him get a car, apartment, clothes, link. So it's just like, I just be looking at it like they ain't got no Social Security, no where they come from. He probably not even here legally.
They get right here, they get quick housing, quick funding, food, they get cars with no license. They can't even read English and stuff like that. So they get all these perks when they get here, and we still here starving. So what we gonna do about it? Are y'all gonna listen to our cries?
Corey Rogers was a Blackstone gang member for years. He drove us around the South Side and showed us areas where he said Tren de Aragua and other criminal gangs are setting up shop, and what he called showing the flag, which means brandishing their weapons in front of like a housing project.
The migrants that are coming, they're taking over every block right now in this area. Right now, you don't see them because they come out at night. They said they took this courtway over probably about last week. He said it was 100 Venezuelans standing out in the front right here.
Terry, is it an abandoned building? How do they just take it over?
They just, when you take over something, you just stand outside, and that's called showing the flag.
What kind of guns?
Semi-automatics, anything you name, you're gonna see it on the street. These boys got so many big guns that if they're 150 pounds, the gun is bigger than them. I swear.
But they know how to handle it, right?
They
They know
do.
what. Tell me about the fact that they're criminals, right? This is a criminal element. These aren't just a bunch of Venezuelans that walked over the border and used to be gardeners back home, right?
Right. And they come from the gangland. They come from rougher gangs than us.
One gang member who only gave his name as David on a particularly dangerous drug dealing corner on the South Side did not hold back when he talked about the influx of criminal gangs from other countries into Chicago.
The real issue is that America has allowed gangs to enter our country. Gangs that they would consider terrorist groups that are formed here. We are terrorist groups. If we're in a gang, they let terrorists in our country.
The Reverend Corey Brooks also said to me he's disgusted with Democratic policies and said that Black Lives Matter, for example, has never reached out to help him or anyone else trying to improve conditions on the South Side.
Chicago is a blue city. Illinois is a blue state. There's no doubt about it that the majority of our neighborhood, they're going to continue to vote Democrat until they wake up. The good news is that there are a lot of people who are responding and waking up and saying, listen, we're not going to take this. We're not going to stand for this. We're going to vote differently. And they're now accepting some of the values that I hold dear and some of the values that the conservative Republican Party holds so dear. And so for a lot of people, it's not about the person, it's about the policies that we're fed up with. And as a result, I think this is going to be the largest amount of people who have voted for the Republican president in Chicago that we've seen.
I also spoke to one Venezuelan man who was so scared of being identified that he put a hoodie on and refused to face the camera. He told me in Spanish that he had to flee the building where he's being housed because a Venezuelan criminal gang took it over. He said if they knew he was talking, they'd end his family's life back in Venezuela with one bullet. You know, what struck me the most about our week in Chicago was how intelligent and self-aware these gang members and ex-gang members are about their community. You understand when you talk to them that joining a gang and making big money selling drugs is often too tempting to resist when faced with the lack of other real opportunities to make money. And for a place known mostly in news stories for being bloody and violent at night, the area is like a village during the daytime. Everyone knows each other, and believe it or not, there's a friendly vibe. But we spoke to a lot of people and their patience is being stretched thin. I would not be surprised to see the gangs here taking action once the Venezuelans try to get a real foothold here.
Black women wearing a red MAGA hat last night on television. Please let the president come in. My son was attacked. You have a force of black women. They're like only Trump. They want Trump to come in. And you see them, they're all over the place in Chicago because they're afraid to go out and they don't want their son or their daughter killed, just like your parents didn't want you killed. And we have a tremendous, look, it's not about winning elections because we want to have nice, fair elections. It's not politics. We want to see a safe country. You have people that want to see a safe country, and they're great people. You have great people in Chicago. The mayor is at 6% approval. He's an incompetent man. He should have never been put in a position like that. I see black.
You all sit up there and say you will not allow Trump to come in here and get these illegals. Yeah, you can smile. We're in $1 billion deficit. And you spent half of our money, half of that on illegals. You campaign and double down that you would not raise property taxes.
I won't raise your property taxes.
You wanted to raise our taxes $300 million. They shut it down. Now we back here for $150 million. Okay. See, this is what we asking now. Since you want to crash out, some of y'all say y'all willing to go to jail for it. Trump, Tom Homan, Make an example out this Negro right here first. Please come here first, because you know what? We're going to help you. We want a forensic
Ma'am, I would
audit.
ask that you,
We
ask you
want
to
a
keep your,
forensic
hold on a
audit.
second. Stop her time. Stop her time. Just a second.
He ain't like that. Boy, he ain't like that. Talk about stop her time.
Just a second. Stop her time. Ma'am, I would ask that you, if you want to continue speaking, you have to make sure that your language is appropriate, okay?
She said Negro. Be quiet.
All right.
Alex,
Okay, you can begin her time again.
you're going to spend our tax dollars to go, Michael Rodriguez, you said to take Trump to court to protect these illegals. That's cool, because we about to make all of y'all aldermen famous. Y'all think this is how it's going to ride? I think not. Flip Chicago red. We not playing.
All right. People weren't playing. Them people was not playing about how they felt early on, way before this. So it's interesting to see them flipping the narrative. I go like, it's all of this and it's all that. No, it's not all of that. It is a people in a particular part of the country, Chicago, that they are tired. They are tired of not seeing the benefits that they work so hard for to keep their communities together, despite everything that's already going on out there, where there's already so much going on. And they're trying to find ways to keep their communities intact. And when you bring in a bunch of outside people that's not from this land, that's crossing the border at hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people, and you bring them into their state and displace them, you think that these people were just going to sit around? These people weren't going to sit around. I'm almost done going down memory lane, y'all.
Boiling over tonight in Chicago as the city discussed plans to house more migrants at a shuttered school in the South Shore neighborhood.
CBS 2's Marissa Perlman was there for the emotional and at times intense community meeting. Marissa, what did we learn?
Well, Joe and Erica, this was certainly a packed event. And the truth is we didn't learn a whole lot about the city's plan. That's because the city leaders who showed up tonight couldn't get a word in edgewise. The community here tells us they overwhelmingly do not support this space in their community going to support migrants.
How could you do that without consulting us? I'm outraged, and I don't understand why our community was chosen.
Passionate South Shore neighbors wouldn't let city leaders share their plans to turn the former South Shore High School site into what they call a respite center.
I think what's important is that we really establish that this is a humanitarian crisis, and we're here.
Neighbors nor 8th Ward Alderman Michelle Harris wanted to hear that.
While this crisis may constitute an emergency for the city of Chicago, it does not constitute an emergency for the South Shore community.
The meeting heated, at times disruptive. Representatives from the mayor's office, the Chicago Police Department, and the Department of Health all on a panel. They say the space will become a temporary holding space, housing between 250 and 500 people at one time.
And this is the same high school they closed down. They had the nerve to close the school down that was in their community. Kids probably got to get bused all over the state, probably have to go way further from their home to attend school just for them to turn around and spit in it. I'm telling you, and this is not even just going on in Chicago. This is stuff that we've seen day in, day out since the beginning of time. The same thing, and people don't understand why this is happening. Well, we have to look at the bigger picture of why this is happening. It is their duty. It is their job to keep the so-called Black community oppressed and suppressed. And that's why we have to get on top and continue to bang what we've been banging about. Us, this is our birthright. They can't take that from us.
Time before they get a shelter assignment.
A place to decompress and a place to take a hot shower. That's really what this is, and a nice
We
meal.
don't care. Right now, the city says there are more than 300 people waiting for shelter space staying on police station floors. In 2020, the police department moved in to operate a temporary professional development center here, but now they will have to move out.
The Chicago Police Department will put 24/7 officers at that location.
The neighborhood now worried about crime, trash, even property value, and say resources the city is spending to help migrants should instead go back into this community, one they say has seen disinvestment for decades.
I am so concerned about this. I have, for the last few days, seriously been considering selling my house.
So we know this is one of 3 possible respite sites. So is all of this a done deal? Well, the city won't say for sure or provide a clear timeline on when some of these migrants might move into this space. We also did reach out to Mayor-elect Brandon Johnson's campaign for his thoughts and comment on the issue, but haven't heard back. We will keep.
Oh, I'll bet. And I got a video of them too, latching off in his butt.
So it has already been determined that you don't follow the United States Constitution. And maybe that's perhaps because you're not a founding father and your name is not on the document. So perhaps if we show you something that your name is on, maybe you'll follow those rules. We got a rules of order and procedure, City Council, City of Chicago for 2023 to 2027 with your name on it. However, we sit in here all the time and watch you violate our rights. We sit in here all the time and watch you allow City Council to violate our rights. Now we're gonna talk about this budget, about the strange things that's happening. Because again, your name was on this executive order of May 2023, this executive order for immigration, migrants, and refugee rights. You caused all this money to go to illegal immigrants, not Harold Washington. You gonna be held accountable for it. And we want a forensic audit of the money that was spent on illegal immigration. You all are trying to do everything but that, when in fact, that's where all the money went. So anything that you all pass, it's not genuine. It's not honest. Because you're trying to cover up where our money actually went. Now, it's been some strange voting going on. Let's talk about the fact that Taliaferro and Lopez, Sergio Lopez, got extra money. Could it be because Byron Sergio Lopez wrote a letter on my behalf to help with my case? And so did Taliaferro. Could it be that they were told that they could get more votes if they blew my case? Whoa. Now, let's look at Alderman David Moore, who have been in here and listened to me talk about my probate all the time and haven't done anything. Could it be he planning a seminar with Lori and them, while at the same time selling me out? Because he's supposed to be getting a field house for his ward. We got something for you. Fridays, famous Friday, and we got another one. This is Chicago Flip Red. Chicago Red got you too. You got Chicago Red and you got Chicago Flip Red, and both of us getting that. So now, who's gonna be famous Friday? Pull this name real fast. Carlos Ramirez Rosa. Yeah.
Thank you very much for your comments. However, your time has expired. Our next speaker is Sharon Abbott.
Brandon Johnson, first of all, I hate to break your heart. I didn't vote for you. I'm a lifelong conservative. Nevertheless, your job is to represent all of the people of Chicago and not your own personal interests. On May 15, 2020, you took your oath of office and solemnly swore to support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and that you would faithfully discharge the duties of the office of mayor to the best of your ability. The U.S. Constitution, Article 4, Section 4, states that the United States shall guarantee to every state in the Union a republican form of government and shall protect each of these against invasion. The preamble of the U.S. Constitution states that we, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, and provide for the common defense. Likewise, the Illinois Constitution reiterates that the people formed our government with its primary role being to ensure domestic tranquility and provide for the common defense. Brandon Johnson, you violated your oath of office. You have not supported the U.S. Constitution nor the Illinois Constitution. You have not protected the people of Chicago from invasion nor ensured domestic tranquility. You have also ignored the Declaration of Independence, which declares that governments derive their just powers from the consent of the governed. No one appointed a monarch to rule over the people of Chicago. Rather, as mayor, your duty is to serve the public, and you are bound by the parameters of the Constitution only to act by the consent of the people. Members of City Council, you likewise took an oath of office to support the U.S. and Illinois Constitution. You are also bound by the parameters of the Constitution only to act by the consent of the people.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is David Mason.
We have to remember history, because the number one thing that we know for certain is that history always repeats itself. So, Mr. Johnson, I know that you can appreciate with me giving you a history lesson with you being a former social studies teacher from Elgin. Well, you plan on going back to the classroom anyway. That was the whole purpose with you taking a leave of absence, right? Well, besides the mental reason. I'm sorry, I wasn't supposed to say that out loud. But let's go ahead and talk about history repeating itself. Let's talk about taxation. Chicago has a tax for everything: water tax, grocery tax, tourist tax, hotel tax, bag tax, liquor tax, cigarette tax, the highest sales tax in the country by far, parking tax, surcharge of downtown parking, property lease tax, and streaming tax. The only thing that you all don't have a tax for yet is oxygen tax. And the only reason why you don't have a tax for that just yet is because you ain't figured out how to do it yet. But let me not speak too soon, because you probably might actually think it's a good idea and you're going to try to write it down. So let's go ahead and talk about, let's not forget about the good old sugar tax. Y'all remember y'all used to back in 2016 and you go to your favorite grocery store and you buy your favorite 24-pack of pop? Well, you paying more taxes on that pop than what the actual cost of it is. What you didn't know is that your buddy Brandon Johnson voted for that sugar tax. So it's not a surprise that he wants to pour a $40 million line of credit and put the city in even more debt than what we already are with the $1.2 billion deficit. But it's your fault that because you gave half the money to illegals. Also, it's lazy government is what you call it. So let's not forget that we got to watch these politics. And I was at that Board of Czar meeting, and Tom Homan said out of his mouth that it is illegal to harbor and conceal illegal aliens. So like I told you before, that you ain't gonna blink, well, we ain't gonna flinch either. Now, I'm gonna tell you another thing. All you illegals, you ain't gonna have no Merry Christmas. You're gonna have a Merry Deportation Christmas.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is Robert Thierry.
Hello, thank you for letting me have this opportunity to speak. My name is Robert Terry. In 2017, I became homeless and disabled. But this year, there was an October 7th attack on two of Chicago's homeless people. Mr. Paul Williams and David Swick were both executed for being homeless, and David Swick was also disabled. I was protesting because homeless lives matter. On November 14th, I was attacked by the owner of the JJ Fish. I have video footage on my cell phone. I did not fight back. They made a false report on me saying that I assaulted them. I was told I could not press charges because I was the assailant on the false report. So November 21st, I went to headquarters at a town hall meeting. And the next day, November 22nd, a detective was assigned. I kept calling him. I didn't get through to him till November 26th. I requested him to look.
See, that's insane. That is insane. The home is not even protected. Nobody is, except for the migrants. Let me try and speed this up some.
$1 million. Y'all won't even put $1 million in one neighborhood. $1 million in one neighborhood.
Chicago is one of several major U.S. cities dealing with a surge of migrants. The city has spent more than $300 million to tend to more than 38,000 immigrants, from healthcare to housing and education. The funds have moved fast, and it's leading to frustration in the city's minority communities. Black Chicagoans say their neighborhoods are in decay and have been for decades, with little help from the city. But they note money is flowing, and flowing quickly, for the migrant crisis. They point to what they see as a symbol of the government's indifference. The city closed Wadsworth Elementary more than a decade ago, a school that served a largely Black neighborhood. Last year, Chicago reopened it to shelter hundreds of migrants, and the city did not seek community input.
There's homelessness and houselessness that we're facing in those neighborhoods, violent crimes at a high rate. And money is being found for those that are just getting here. But what about those who have been living in underappreciated properties, undervalued living circumstances, neighborhoods that have been stripped of banks, stripped of grocery stores,
That's
stripped of quality?
I'm telling you, and this is the stuff that is really, really so disheartening when you look at the people who built this land, who come from this land, who've been in this land since time immemorial. And I know our ancestors rolling over, because it's our time to stand up for what's right. And if we don't, right or left, it's going to continue to keep happening. That's why I'm not mad at what Trump doing. These people come into our country, and even the legal ones too. They're able to come in with the foothold. They're able to come in with the economic floor. They think that they can talk about the so-called Black Americans, say whatever they want about our communities, about us as a people, without even understanding the history and the context behind things. Our neighborhoods continue to see disenfranchisement, continue to see the worst of the worst. And I always say to people, like, you can't vouch for maybe a small percentage of so-called Black Americans that have found success in this land, when the majority of you or of us is not in the same boat. Okay? Everybody is not living the same reality.
The education, and all of a sudden there is a group that is coming in and is causing animosity between the citizens and the new generation of people that are coming in.
Tensions boiled over at a city council meeting earlier this week after a proposal to spend $70 million more on the migrant crisis.
We need that money in my neighborhood. We need that on my block. That woman should not be at Cook County Jail because she's grieving over a random act of violence that caused her to lose her child in front of her face, when the city of Chicago has millions upon millions upon millions of dollars to give to people who ain't paid a dime into the tax base.
Y'all whittling us out
and y'all doing it in such a gracious fashion. Y'all representing us as y'all do it. This what y'all doing.
Community leader Richard Wallace says the wants of Black Chicagoans are not taking away from the needs of others.
When Black people say we want parks, that doesn't mean that we don't want X for migrants. When Black people say we want jobs, that does not mean that we're saying we don't want jobs for migrants. And so the conflating of the issues together, right, is part of the problem.
The city has now begun to limit some accommodations for migrants, and that's caused backlash too. Last month, Chicago evicted migrants who overstayed a 60-day limit at shelters. Immigration rights groups condemned the move. The residents cited safety concerns, but some say the city was put in a difficult situation to begin with.
The thousands of migrants that are being shipped to Democratic-led cities with African-American mayors being piled on to underserved communities is unfair both to the communities, but also unfair to the humanity that is forced into these neighborhoods, dropped off at police stations, dropped off in the middle of underserved neighborhoods.
Yep. Just drop them off there. Just drop them off. Now, let's move up. Let's move up a little bit. Let's move up a little bit. Because then maybe we can get to what was happening and what they're reporting, rather.
This building, and she says she was detained by ICE agents overnight, and she says they took everyone and then asked questions later.
They just treated us like we were nothing.
Patricia Fisher says she came out to the hallway of her apartment complex on the corner of 75th and South Shore Drive in her nightgown around 10 Monday night, only to find ICE agents yelling police.
It was scary because I've never had a gun put in my face. They asked my name and my date of birth and asked me, did I have any warrants? And I told them no, I didn't.
She says she was then handcuffed and released around 3 a.m. Fisher says she was told if anyone had any kind of warrant out for them, even if it was
released at by 3 a.m.
unrelated to immigration, they would not be released. Citizen App video shows the chaotic scene overnight.
Well, you got a warrant, you know what I'm saying? You can't really, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, most of those people, or most of the so-called Black people, I think in that particular, this is the same South Shore neighborhood, y'all. And that's why I showed all of those people from that community upset behind the influx of these Venezuelan migrants. And then they want to put Democratic Black people on TV because they were just, the only thing is that they were just traumatized by this experience, which I understand the trauma. I understand that. I understand that. But do not make it seem like you was about to be kept in ICE custody. Because no
trucks and military-style vans were used.
I don't know why she would lie and say that man said that.
Other neighbors say they saw agents destroying property to get in the building.
And they had a big 15-inch chainsaw with a round blade on it, cutting this fence down. We're under siege. We're being invaded by our own military.
The FBI.
Not though. They're invading the neighborhood to get those same Venezuelan migrants out the neighborhood that a year ago they were raising hell about. All right. Let's keep moving. Damn.
Mira aquí. ¿Cómo te llamas? Aquí, güey. ¿Qué? ¿Nombre completo? Johnny Manuel Caicedo. Johnny Manuel. ¿Qué se respeto? 38 del 96. ¿Cómo te llamas? Reina. ¿Tienes documentos para estar aquí en los Estados Unidos legalmente? ¿Estás ilegalmente aquí, no? Entré por la bolsa. ¿Tienes documentos? ¿Qué? Ahorita te vamos a mandar también para tu país.
They right up in the hood. Look at them in the hood.
You like Michael Jordan? This is Michael Jordan. Okay, I'm gonna move them this way. Ven acá. Chris, you want to move the next guy this way with fucking Homeboy? I don't know Homeboy's name.
Pulled them right out of the hood.
Separating out property. Not yet. Stand by. Para los pies. No. Sorry, guys. Voy a revisar el línea, ok. Dale esa mera atrás. Hey, brother. Okay. Just take from here.
Right now they out there in Chicago, but you know, I'm sure it's gonna be more cities to go. More cities to go.
Turn and burn, Governor. We're going from this one to the next, to the next, to the next until they quit or are all deported and go home. And as far as him, he can either get on board or watch from the sideline.
No fue como antes.
Look at this shit.
Right, man?
Y'all want to be out here acting like stop with the game. Stop with the game. Spent millions on these people. Yep, they ass right up in that mud, that damn paddy wagon. So
scenes coming out of Chicago and the surrounding area where the Trump administration has escalated its immigration crackdown. Officers were seen in riot gear, gas masks, and armored cars as protesters gathered yesterday outside a detention center. At times, there were confrontations with federal agents leading to a number of arrests. Those same agents have been seen in tactical gear, roaming the streets openly carrying guns in a show of intimidation. And then there was this early morning raid of an apartment building earlier this week that involved around 300 federal agents, including those rappelling down from a Black Hawk helicopter. As the Chicago Sun-Times reports, quote, armed federal agents in military fatigues busted down their doors overnight, pulling men, women, and children from their apartments, some of them naked, residents and witnesses said. Agents approached or entered nearly every apartment in this 5-story building, and U.S. citizens were among those detained for hours. Agents claimed the neighborhood was, quote, a location known to be frequented by Trinidad Aragua members and their associates. But DHS, of course, gave no evidence to support that assertion.
And I just showed y'all all these videos. This is why I said we had to go back down memory lane real quick. Because it's quick, they're so quick to be so disingenuous about who was in there. We know that this gang was there. And now y'all trying to say that it's no evidence to support the assertion. These were the same people that were protesting a year ago about these gang members, these violent people coming into their communities. That's what I said. Just a tactic, just lies.
And authorities did not confirm that any of the people arrested were members of the Venezuelan gang. Joining us now is Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson. Mayor Johnson, thank you so much for coming. I want to start with the raid because for so long, the American people have felt safe in their homes from a lot of the things that are going around in the streets, whether it's these immigration raids or the Marines in LA or whatever. But this is coming to the front doorsteps of people in your community, in your city, who are American citizens, who no evidence has been shown that they are a part of Trinidad Aragua or even any of the other folks that were in that building a part of that. Talk a little bit about what it is like for the people in that apartment building to feel so under siege.
Well, the tensions are certainly high in the city of Chicago. What the president is doing is absolutely dangerous and unconstitutional. But our position is clear. We're going to remain resolved and firm in our position to protect the rights of all of our residents. What you are describing is something that we have been warning about for some time, that there are a number of people, including the President of the United States of America, that have decided to declare war on poor people and on working people across the country. And this raid that you are describing was on the south side of Chicago, where Black folks live. And it is evident that this is not about safety. It's not about deportation. This is about the President of the United States of America and his kind that are looking to stoke and foment chaos and fear within our streets of cities across America. But we're going to remain firm and we're going to fight back against this tyranny.
Mayor Johnson, Secretary Kristi Noem, DHS Secretary Kristi Noem,
was with it the whole
was in your
time.
city yesterday.
You just mad that they coming at y'all now. You're mad. You're mad. All right. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty more where that came from. But
no matter their status, children were zip tied together, separated from their parents, and the feds say that they arrested dozens of gang members. Also in the city, Charlie Kirk's group was given a front row seat to a raid inside a Walmart.
Amazing. Secretary Noem was here. They rolled up a couple of guys, and
it's rowdy. There's a lot of people around. Everyone's filming. The Secretary of Homeland Security is right now doing raids at Walmart.
So, as forewarned, I mean, we have a situation in which American cities are at the center of this ICE crackdown, and there's indiscriminate use of force against Americans, non-Americans, people here legally, people here illegally. And on the right, nobody seems to care. In fact, they love it.
I saw a video from a local station in Chicago, and residents of a community there were describing an ICE raid and like what they saw. Two things struck me. One, they were talking about things that happened to them. They were talking about how they were treated in this ICE raid. These are the people that, I guess, by virtue of being born here in America, are entitled to being treated like human beings. The second thing is that they were all Black. And I'm going to say something. We saw this coming. We knew the neighborhoods where these ICE raids would take place. We knew that a lot of these things wouldn't happen.
Y'all see the narrative right here that he's trying to push? He's trying to make it seem like they were intentionally targeting Black people. And that's not the case. That's the same neighborhood infiltrated with Venezuelan people, Venezuelan migrants. How in the hell can y'all put this on the docket as if they're trying to attack Black people? No, they're not. It's just unfortunate that when certain things go on, unfortunately, some people are kind of like, I don't want to say casualties, but you know, it's just a part of protocol that everybody's removed. For example, like let's say you're a teacher and a fight breaks out in your classroom. And then when the students get sent home for the day or something like that, or the student gets sent home before the day is over, and somebody pulls up that's not a part of the school, that's not a part of the people there, and they just start attacking the child that was sent home. That teacher, not because he or she had anything to do with it, they'll indirectly get that backlash to it to kind of be like, well, you know, we have to put you on administrative leave because the fight took off in your classroom. It's not because you're being attacked. Some things are just protocol. And most of those people, they let them go. So like, don't sit up there and act like that this was an intent to really come on and get, you know, to come against Black people. They could, like those people on TikTok, they couldn't wait to say, yeah, we told y'all could get deported too. Deported where? Please tell me where any so-called Black American is going to get deported to. And I'm talking about the authentic Americans. I am not talking about those no shade. I'm not talking about all those. I'm not talking about those other folks. We're not talking about people like the Iowa superintendent faking his resume, overstaying a student visa. Y'all really try to look at things like somebody is trying to attack us like that. And that's not the case here. The people of Chicago have been protesting for over a year now, longer than that probably, especially since the influx of these migrants began. We're talking about in New York City getting $53 million, getting debit cards, some of them getting SSI, real life, just sucking up resources. And I just don't like the narrative that they try to spin. No, it's not right that American citizens get put and detained or anything like that, getting woke up. No, I'm not saying that that's right. But don't act like it was a deliberate attack on Black Americans, because it was not.
Beverly Hills or in Coconut Grove or any of those places like that. We knew that there would be collateral damage, that there would be trauma that would be inflicted on our communities. We knew that people would be detained, scared. We knew that children would have to see things that they shouldn't have to see. And all of this for political theater so that we look tough on immigration for everyone. It's a horror show. And I do think if it hasn't already happened, that it'll be something that even the most conservative of Americans will get tired of seeing human beings treated this way. At least that's my hope.
The one neighbor said the kids were crying. They looked very distraught. I was out there crying when I seen the little girl come around the corner because they were bringing kids down too, had them zip tied to each other, saying that there were trucks, military-style vans used to separate adults from kids. What's going on?
I haven't seen any of this, so I certainly am not aware of particular neighborhoods that are targeted. Obviously, I support them finding and arresting people who are here illegally. And in the community they're in, again, I can't justify, I haven't seen which communities that they're targeting.
Well, one detail that's been left out is that they were targeting Tren de Aragua. And so Tren de Aragua is a violent transnational gang. They send illegal immigrants here to the United States. They
You
traffic
hear him
drugs, they
taking a
traffic
deep
people,
breath
they
like
commit
this man
violence.
lying or something. See, just nonsense. Like, we love the state of perpetual victimhood.
And so Tren de Aragua is a violent transnational gang. They send illegal immigrants here to the United States. They traffic drugs, they traffic people, they commit violence. They inflict misery everywhere they go. And 37 people were arrested. That was the purpose of the raid, the targeting of Tren de Aragua, some of the most violent people in our hemisphere. And when
Exactly.
they come here, nothing good happens. That was the
Okay,
point.
so if it was targeting, I don't think anybody has a problem with targeting. When you clear out an apartment
Are the
building
children in
and
Trinidad
you
and
zip
Tobago?
tie children and you arrest and detain everyone,
Are the-
Scott,
are the
Scott, hold
kids-
on,
no,
hold
no,
on, Scott. You and me, we're talking here, okay? If they arrest children, they arrest everyone, citizens and non-citizens, for hours, detain them, deprive them of their liberty, for no matter how long. You are fine with that.
They didn't arrest children, but
I didn't say they arrested them. They put them in zip ties. But if that makes a difference to you, go ahead.
here's what makes a difference to me. If the federal government knows that there is a nest of Tren de Aragua in a city like Chicago, they have a responsibility. They have an obligation to go get them. It is unfortunate, to answer your question, that there are children put in harm's way by these violent gangs. But that is going to be the reality.
Unfortunate, or is it unfortunate, or is it a
Tamina, hold
violation
on.
of their rights? Is the question? Because I mean, in this country, we have rights against searches
Well,
and
you're
illegal
suggesting
searches
these
and
children
seizure.
should be effectively
It's not- it
rights for Tren de Aragua, and I don't agree with
What
that.
I'm asking, hold on, I want to make it clear. I don't like, I know that Tren de Aragua and gangs and whatever, it's a catch-all to treat people however you want, to go in there and shred the Constitution or whatever else it is that you want to do. What I'm asking you,
Exactly. Look at like just sick. Just sick. And I wonder why they couldn't get more people on camera. You know, they keep showing these two same ladies. They haven't shown anyone else on camera. And I wonder why that is.
is this. Do you think that children should have been zip tied and pulled out of an apartment complex and traumatized like that? Yes or no?
I don't think children should be put in harm's way by transnational gangs.
Just answer the question. Yes or no? Do you think that children?
I don't accept the premise of your question.
I'm asking
the
you
government's not
whether or
putting
not-
children in harm's way. Tren de Aragua.
Real calm now. Real calm. Like
They're the ones putting
gentlemen to
children in
gentlemen,
harm's way.
Gentlemen to gentlemen, we have a responsibility for the way we treat people with the power that we have here in America. And we have a standard that we should treat human life with. And I'm asking you very clearly, concisely, should children be treated that way? The Scott Jennings like that?
I don't accept the premise of your question.
All right, cool.
I don't believe that the premise of your question is accurate. I would ask you back. Should Chicago have to live with Tren de Aragua because they hide behind these children?
But here's the thing.
That's my
I
question
think the
to you.
answer to that is clear. No, they should not be put in harm's way. But the difference is in this situation is I don't want to be Tren de Aragua. I don't want my law enforcement to act like Tren de Aragua. That is
So
the
what do you wanna do?
distinction.
Do you don't want to leave
But-
it? Do you just want to leave it and say, we have kids in there, let's just move on? Is
No,
that
but
what you wanna do?
can't law enforcement figure out a way? I don't think this is the first time children have been in an environment where dangerous people have been around them. And I'm most certain that in most of those circumstances, those children aren't zip tied and carried out like animals. What I am wondering is, okay, let's put this fact pattern on any other placement. Let's put it on a school, right? What if there was a gang member in a school? And by this calculation, it would seem like the children in the school, in order to get that one gang member or two gang members, would get.
It's not one gang member. It's 37
Well,
people in an apartment
there's
building.
it's a large apartment building. That's part of the. It's part of the fact pattern here. I mean, here's another one from our reporting. Tenants said it appears everyone in the building was detained by federal officers, including U.S. citizens. It was scary, said one, because I had never had a gun in my face. And that person lives in the building. They asked my name and my date of birth and asked me, did I have any warrants? I told them, no, I didn't. Fisher,
It's the reason why they're only quoting those two
she was
black ladies.
handcuffed anyway.
The news is so full, man, they are so full of propaganda. It's the reason why they only keep quoting these same two women.
Are being released around 3 a.m. and
They are quoting the same two women.
Never had a gun put in my face. Scary because I've never had a piece. It was scary because I've never had a gun put in my face. They asked my name and my date of birth and asked me, did I have any warrants? And I told them no, I didn't.
She said she was then handcuffed and released around 3 a.m. Fisher says she was told if anyone had any kind of warrant out for them, even if it was unrelated to immigration, they would not be released. Citizen App video shows the chaotic scene.
Ladies, why they not showing us this video of the kids being zip tied? They got everything else, but can't show us the video of the children being zip tied.
Was told anyone with outstanding warrants, even if it was unrelated to immigration, would not be released. So in the again,
Please,
like people
seriously.
live in apartment buildings all over this country.
I promise that.
Is that where you should go?
Wait a
Find
second.
Trinidad, should I just go to an apartment building and hide?
Wait. I'm talking about the way that citizen of this country was treated. By the way, I just want to be clear. I think that everybody that's created in the image of God should be treated with respect. And I thought that part of the American ideal was that, but that's gone. I promise y'all will still be invited to Mar-a-Lago if you say that it is wrong that children were zip tied and that American people, American citizens were detained without any warrant or suspicion.
Briefly detained? In
How long is
an effort to get 37
Give me that.
Trinidad
Okay,
Aragua members?
So tell me. So real
what
quick,
you're
tell me
suggesting
how
is
long
that
is
no
okay.
enforcement can
How long is okay?
So would you be okay being detained so that the gang members, would you be okay with your rights being violated and you be held until 3 a.m. with your family member not knowing why? Is that okay? Because that's not okay with me.
Everybody here seems to believe that if you're Trinidad Aragua, you can go hide in an apartment building, and because there are other people there, you just get to be left alone. That is not a reasonable enforcement position.
There's another option here, and it's actually an option that's utilized by law enforcement every single day in this country. When they are looking for violent people, they go look for those violent people. They do not subject the people around those violent people who have nothing to do with them with arrest, with guns in their faces, with being searched, with being zip tied and handcuffed and detained. Every day in America, law enforcement does their jobs and they don't do it like this. So why is suddenly this okay?
Every day in America, you're not necessarily dealing with the most violent people in the hemisphere.
Yes,
we're not.
That's who is living in this.
Scott, there are violent people who are right here in this country, American citizens. They are in gangs. They were born here. Their parents were born here. Their grandparents were born here.
Believe me, we know.
Those people are dealt with by law enforcement every day. Again, it's a real basic question. If you lived in an apartment building and there happened to be somebody who was guilty of a terrible crime in that building, and law enforcement barged in, guns blazing, and put every single person in that apartment building under arrest, you would be fine with that, including you and your family.
Not everybody is under arrest. They arrested 37 people. They arrested 37. You said everybody. It's not. It's 37
This
people.
person was sleeping in their bed and they were detained. They were put in handcuffs and detained.
Neither you nor I was there.
Would you be fine with
Facts.
that?
Like
I know
what?
this.
Quiet.
37
You and your family,
violent
Scott,
people are now off the
Scott,
street.
Scott, you and your family, you are in an apartment building. You and your family, you would be fine with your liberty being held up, your kids, your wife, your children being detained for any amount of time because somebody in that building was a criminal. You'd be fine with that?
You are vastly oversimplifying what's happening here. There are scores of illegal immigrants
I
in the
think
building.
sometimes we have to simplify things so that we actually
many of them are
understand
violent.
what we're talking about. Because I do think that this is a problem now for the rest of the country. People are going about their lives and they are not responsible for the crimes of other people. And yet in this world in which
And they're still
ICE is
not.
operating like this, they are being detained for other people's crimes. Willingness to accept a whole lot of collateral violation of rights of anybody, whether you're American citizens or not, because there are many rights in this country that are in the Constitution that it doesn't matter if you're a citizen or not, you're still entitled to them.
President Trump was told
no matter how many of y'all out-of-towner, weird-ass, agent-ass niggas say that they're detaining black people in Chicago, we're still going to be out here free, walking around, not having to worry about shit. So keep lying, because it don't matter what the fuck you say. We still going to be cool. So keep lying. It don't matter. Keep being overdramatic. Keep on sensationalizing this shit. Because what you're doing is taking shit out of context and running with it. Don't matter what the fuck you say. We still gonna be Gucci over here. So keep lying, keep crying. Chicago gonna be good forever. So it don't fucking matter what the fuck y'all niggas say. Y'all are fucking weird. No matter how.
Because a lot of people out there are acting like they don't understand what is actually happening in the city of Chicago in regards to the ICE raids. Let me tell you something. Black people, again, are collateral damage in this. And all the black people that are getting mad at ICE and Donald Trump, hold on, you got to get mad at the politicians right here locally, because it was the politicians right here in your city that decided to dump the migrant issue on the black community like they do every single time. When they came across the border and checked asylum, they were able to come over into our city and get incentives like medical care, 6 months free rent, free transportation, free child care. We fed them each and every day. And those people that they were giving assistance to, they didn't go up to the north side and to the white community. All of the people out there protesting that are white, they didn't open up their doors for them, and they didn't want none of the shelters on their neighborhood. Guess where they opened up the shelters? In the black community. Those same school buildings that they shut down in 2013 that were educating black kids, they took those school buildings and they made them migrant shelters. And then they gave over $700 million to a company out in Florida to manage those shelters. They took the buildings that you've been asking for to be developed and build new housing, and they made them into migrant homes, giving them 6 months of free rent. They dumped the problem on black community like they do every single time. When it was George Floyd riots, they closed downtown and pushed people to loot into the neighborhoods because they knew that people didn't care. Where was all the people right now? They weren't in our neighborhoods helping us open up back up our businesses. They were not in our neighborhoods helping us clean up. They weren't.
Boy. So we got to continue our coverage of the mainstream liberal media outrage over the Chicago ICE raids. Okay, the militarized raid, the raid that the left is calling a military invasion of Chicago because it included Black Hawk helicopters, flashbangs, and allegedly kids in zip ties. Right. And also apparently an ICE agent said F them kids as well too, as they were running and screaming.
Man, you cannot make this shit up. See, all he's going to do is pretty much go over all of the news clippings and everything that I was showing y'all already. But I just kind of wanted to catch that young man at the beginning of that, kind of express that, because, like, how can y'all sit over here and act like this was something deliberate? I'm telling you, like, it is left-wing mumbo jumbo, straight up. Straight up. Straight up. And I don't know how y'all feel in the chat, but I wasn't with it from the beginning. I had a problem with illegal immigration from the beginning. And people had the nerve to be looking at me like I was crazy or like it was something wrong with me because I have a problem with people who are not from this land being able to come in this daggone land and get a heads up, get a foot up. No. The same people who didn't put nothing into this land. Even now. And then they get upset when we want to talk about it. They act as if they don't know what we're saying and what we're talking about. Yes, we do. Then it turns into, so they don't have a right to come over here and no, they don't have a right to come over here. No. Can you go over to their land and make a better life for yourself? Can you flee your land and go somewhere and make a better life for yourself illegally? No, you cannot. I don't know why they sit over there and act like that. I'm telling you, young, like we are so farsighted.
Really heavy in the 1980s and 1990s. But the history, I want to go back to the history because this history is so important. And this is why I make the position, this is why I've devoted myself to Black America for Immigration Reform, because I believe this history, many Black Americans need to know this history. What was going on in the 1800s with Frederick Douglass, with Booker T. Washington, with W.E.B. Du Bois, with Marcus Garvey. All four of them, they were dissimilar. They didn't have the same positions politically or ideologies, but they all four agreed on mass immigration. They said it was absolutely unacceptable. And so we fast forward to today, we don't only have mass immigration because America accepts more legal immigrants per year, at least a million, than any other country. So that's mass immigration. But now we have illegal aliens, okay? So if you, and this is completely unacceptable. And if you are for illegal aliens, which we can't even use that term, says the political left, because it's not politically correct. And I want to say political correctness has destroyed Black America and has destroyed America. We must speak the truth. And if illegal aliens is a term used in our United States Code, you are anti-American if you don't use the terms used by our founding documents. That's what I take. That's the position I take. So I want to go right back to the 1800s again. I'm sorry. The article is Cast Down Your Bucket Where You Are by Robert Malloy, and the Center for Immigration Studies published that article. They need to republish it again. So Black, I want to, all the listeners out there, I want to encourage you to read that article. You can read the actual words by Frederick Douglass, by Booker T. Washington, by Marcus Garvey. You can read their actual words. Also, Black publications, Black articles, newspaper articles, Black intellectuals said mass immigration is unacceptable. This was in the 1800s. I don't know why the political left, the Democratic Party, denies this history. I don't know why they deny it. Why are they harming Black Americans? If you're pro-illegal aliens, you're anti-Black American. That's the position I take. That's the position that we take at BAR. If you're pro-illegal aliens, you're anti-Black American. We are Black Americans. We have been in this country. Our ancestors have been in this country since its founding. What identity politics has failed. However, Black Americans and white Americans matter. Why? Because we've both been in this country since its founding. So what happens to each group matters. Every other group has come relatively recently since the 1965 Immigration Act. They're relatively new to America, but there's no way that Black Americans and white Americans should be decimated or dissolved or in any way, lessened by immigration, because they've been here. They're the descendants of the ancestors who've been here since the founding of the country. They matter. The truth matters. Why isn't the truth getting out? I don't know. Why has the Democratic Party betrayed Black America when we have been their most loyal constituents? Why have Black politicians betrayed Black Americans? And in fact, I know that, what's the guy out of Texas? He was just a guest. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. He was just a guest on Washington Journal this morning. He is pro-illegal aliens. All Black politicians are pro-illegal aliens. They call them, it's a good thing they say it's a good thing for the economy. How it's just a narrative. It's propaganda. It's not true because the data is clear. So for every 10% increase in mass immigration, Black Americans lose a certain percentage of their wealth. I can't remember, it's 1.1% or 2.5%. It suppresses their wages. The incarceration rates increase. Why? Because when Black men are not employed, they resort to violence. It deteriorates the family. It's just a lose-lose situation. We should not continue mass immigration. Illegal aliens should not be in the country at all. If you're pro-illegal, I'll repeat this, if you're pro-illegal aliens, you're anti-Black American. That's the position I take, and I'm sticking with it.
That's right.
Thank you, Kathleen. Donna?
I don't agree so much with the blacks and whites, but I understand where she coming from. Yeah, she has some little mic
mass
drops.
immigration. Now it's illegal aliens. And Simone D. Sanders on MSNBC said we can't even say the word illegal aliens. She was saying that to Byron Donalds. That's not true. It's in you're anti-American if you don't go by the laws on the United States Code. It's anti-American. You're anti-Black American if you're pro-illegal aliens. This is the position. If you look at the history, if you know the data, you know illegal aliens, mass immigration since the 1800s has adversely impacted Black Americans. It's clear. It's documented. So anyone allowing illegal aliens into the country is anti-Black America. The Democratic Party is anti-Black America, and the Democratic Party has destroyed the Black American family. We only have 75, there's only 25% two-parent households, it's 75% single-headed households, white liberal women, push-free sex feminism / sexual liberation. This destroyed the American family, destroying the American family, destroying Black American families. All these policies, all the policies of the Democratic Party stink. They have destroyed America. They have destroyed the family. John Adams says that for a country to be free and prosperous, the citizens must be moral and be of good moral character. The family is the most important institution in society. You have Black men who cannot marry Black women. Why? Because they don't have income. They don't have wealth. Why? Because mass immigration, illegal aliens. It's clear. It's very clear.
Kathleen, thank you. Let's take
Kathleen
some
was
Q&A.
smoking it.
I just want to be clear. Center for Immigration Studies is a
He was smoking
nonprofit, non-political group. We don't endorse
smoking
going
them.
back to Jamaica.
Yeah, he was against.
What's the story with that? In other words, what is people's reaction? How do you kind of process that? Because when it was immigrants from Europe, you can sort of see that's what Booker T. Washington was reacting to, Frederick Douglass, A. Philip Randolph. And if it's, illegal aliens from Latin America, again, you can sort of see there's a ethnic difference. But how do you process Black immigration?
Well, even Marcus Garvey, who was originally from Jamaica, was against mass
and was
immigration.
deported back to Jamaica.
Yeah, he was against mass immigration. Yeah, listen, it's about heritage. It's about our lineage. Who are we? We're Black Americans. I can trace my family back, my ancestors back to the 1700s. Okay, so we're Black Americans. We have been here since the founding of the country. That matters, does it not? Does it matter that our parents, our ancestors were here since the founding, since the 1600s, since the 1700s? Is that relevant? Is that significant? Yes, I think it is.
And go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. Look, people who break the law break the law. I don't care if you're orange.
Right.
If you come over here, you come over here illegally, you're still taking a job. Let's keep in mind that you have employers who will prefer illegal immigrants over natural citizens. And that is still the case, even if their skin is darker than mine. So it's still hurting everyone. And then a lot of the illegal immigrants that come over here and their skin is dark, they don't see themselves as being the same as I am. They don't identify with the Black American experience.
And that's what I spoke on not too long ago. I was telling people, I'm like, listen, I said, most of y'all are working out normal jobs, whether it's grocery store, whether it's restaurant, whether it's even in some cases, government, DC government, local government, whatever. You know what I mean? Like a lot of times you will see this influx of immigrants getting preferential treatment. What did we just see with the Iowa superintendent? I'm calling Iowa Des Moines. What's that? Des Moines, Iowa? That's DE Iowa. That's the name I came up with that place. DE Iowa. Because you mean to tell me that this man was able to get in as a superintendent making well over $250,000 per year on trumped up resume jobs, fake degrees, a criminal record. And these are the people that are being favored over American citizens, American people, the true Americans. Like I was saying the other day, if it was me or anyone else going out for that superintendent job, trust and believe it better not be an eye out of place on that resume. You know they're going to check for my degrees. They're going to check for my references. They're going to check my previous jobs. They're going to check all of that. Somehow, this illegal immigrant here on a student visa over 20 years was able to hold the top positions in every state he moved to, every city he moved to. Now, I saw some clips, and I don't feel like dealing with it today because I'm going to like show this and then I'm pretty much out of here because I do have some more things that I need to do. But he lived in a huge home. You know how long it takes people to get a home? Some people, I'm talking about a house. And this is what's going on. And somehow I'm supposed to feel bad for them going in there and getting them motherfuckers up out of here. Something got to change. And people can have their opinions around politics. You know, they always like to say, "Oh, Sharice, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know." Yes, I do know. And I know a lot of people don't like the fact that my opinions have changed. And it is what it is. Enough is enough. And our people have been at the bottom of the totem pole for way too long to continue to sit around and be okay with seeing other people rise above while they're still struggling. It's not just, who is this Ramon person? It ain't about no fucking good credit score. It's not about no good credit score. The hell are you talking about? And let's talk about a good credit score. Because that's not strictly what it's about. You obviously don't understand what redlining is about or anything. You must not be one of us speaking like that. Because you shouldn't be allowed to come into this land and get a credit score of a 780. Credit is earned, not given to someone. They come over here with a line of credit. They're giving these people things. What are you talking about? Somebody do something about that. Because I don't have time for idiotic people in the chat. Sitting over here saying anything. Be quiet. You just want to come in here and cause confusion. If you don't agree, leave.
Because they have their culture.
Because that's completely different. And so that still has a significant impact on the financial stability and ability of individuals who come from that lineage in the American experience, their ability to pull themselves out of the lower rungs of society.
You know, Donna and Kathleen, your comments are very much consistent with comments that are made by Black leaders in Black newspapers 100 years ago. Mm-hmm. Du Bois, at the same time he was making the comment, they said that the cutting off of white labor has been the salvation of Black workers. But at the same time, in that same article, he said, he did kind of say, unfortunately, sort of had a little race consciousness. He says, unfortunately, that means blacks from the Caribbean are cut off too. But he goes, he distinguished that was a racial issue, but African Americans are not about race; it's about history. And the key thing was the history was the people whose families came through slavery, and for so the point of
they think everything is about a credit score. We're talking about people that are illegal in this country. What do you? I don't understand the stupidity of people. Don't type in my chat. Don't type no idiotic crap in my chat. These are illegals. And even when Africans come over to the country, what are they given? A credit score. And they will still put an American so-called black person through the fucking ringer. You believe that? Just ridiculous.
That I found in some of my recent studies is that the black leaders and editors, they work so hard to really get away from racial distinctions and idea of race, because that was something that this whole idea of scientific racism had been so harmful to African Americans. And as it turns out, the scientific community eventually got out of that.
Well, I mean, my ancestors didn't slave and sweat and toil and all that hard work that they did for Joanne Reed to have a job. She's from the Congo. They work for
Let her say it again.
Scientific community eventually got out of that.
Well, I mean, my ancestors didn't slave and sweat and toil and all that hard work that they did for Joanne Reed to have a job. She's from the Congo. They work for Black Americans to have jobs. They did all that for Black Americans, not people from the Congo who are first-generation Americans. Not even
they didn't do that for them.
Indian American.
They didn't do that for you. That's what y'all miss. And yet, even that Ramon person, something I said must have hit that head. How dare you? Don't sit up there and act like the same opportunities that's available for all, for some, are available for the few. They make you believe that the same things are available for everybody, but that's not the truth. It's just not. That's not the reality of the things that we see at all.
Jamaican.
Right.
My ancestors didn't work for Kamala Harris to have these benefits. They worked for Black Americans to have benefits. I think even Obama is not even a Black American. This is why using color, the skin color, is not sufficient.
American
It's confusing.
Right.
And this is why I say white Americans and Black Americans have been in America the longest since its founding. And that is significant. That matters. That history matters. And so this is why, and I don't know why so many, and I want to get into this issue about Black women, Black American women supported. I know it's nonprofit, but Black American women don't understand most of them, some do, but most of them don't understand. They think everything is about skin color. And that's a superficial analysis of the situation. They're not looking at the history. They don't know the history. And they're just so wedded to the political left.
Who was here? Who was here? That's what matters. Who continues to suffer at the hands of this? The people who've been here, while everyone else can come here and benefit tremendously over the people whose ancestors built this land and come from this land, whose lands were taken from them, redlining, land theft, discriminatory treatment, intra-American trade. discriminatory practices by police officers. What? Whose people is going through that? Not these people that are coming over here. See, now we're starting to see it rev up under the Trump administration, and people don't like it. I don't understand why people will only accept things from the people that they like. If this was the Biden administration doing this, y'all, they'll be all up in arms. They'll be hooray for it. But because you all are programmed to dislike a candidate, a presidential candidate, you can't even see the good in anything that's being done. But that's usually what it is. When you don't like someone, you're not going to see any good in them. And I think it's sad, because I think that you can be able to differentiate the difference between right and wrong, and knowing when somebody's doing the right thing and when somebody's just not doing the right thing. I don't think that in this case that he's doing the wrong thing when it comes down to making sure that the integrity of the American soil is protected, because what has happened is these Democrats have allowed this to take place. When I brought up the fact that Kamala Harris gave the Asian community $26.3 billion, you think them niggas cared? They wanted to argue about what she looked like. Have you ever heard the term all skin folk and kin folk? Have you ever heard that phrase? You know, I think it's really sad because we don't really have an understanding of how much these people are not for us, yet we want to somehow put it in our brain because Obama was so-called black, or all these people are representative of us. I've been having an issue with all of these people who are immigrants, people who are not from this land, being able to represent in United States government, represent people's interests who they have no goddamn care for. Governor Wes Moore. You know what I mean? I just don't, I will never be with it. I'm always going to stand on 10 toes behind what I'm saying, behind what it is. And a lot of things got to get cleared up. Because if we continue to sit over here and fight about being slaves from Africa and all this other stuff, we ain't gonna never get nowhere. Yeah, you keep on claiming Africa, you gonna mess around and get your ass deported there. You keep claiming that you from there. You keep wanting to tell yourself you some type of slave, perpetual slave. We had a conversation on talking with the FBAs. A lot of the FBAs believe the transatlantic slave trade narrative. You know, and I mean, and some of them at the end of the day, they want to say, hey, boom, you know what? We all family and we all should be able to fight for one cause. But no, we got to get the ideology straight. Because the problem with our community that's plagued us for so long is that some want to go this way, some want to go that way, some want to go up, some want to go down, some want to go around. And we don't have one cohesive understanding of anything. And we're not saying that we all have to agree on everything, but something should be understood. And there shouldn't be an issue when it comes down to doing your history, doing your research, finding out who your family was in genealogy, understanding the reclassification efforts, understanding how many people actually got dropped off into the United States directly from Africa. Understanding that you can research and be able to find if your ancestors came off a boat. And most of you never found that and never will. But see, your mind is being plagued. And then in turn, you can really make yourself believe that people coming over here, that's their right. It's not their right. It's their right to go build up their land, just like our ancestors did this one since time immemorial. I get so tired of it. And it's like you can't tell anybody anything. All the illegal immigrants are being exposed. Native Americans being exposed as illegal immigrants. Native Americans not having birth certificates or anything. It's so much buffoonery, fraudulent activity going on. And nobody wants to recognize that. And it's like it's so hard thinking in the realm in which I think, because I know so many people don't agree with me. And I don't really care if you agree with me or not, because it's not going to change my thought process about anything that I'm saying at all. We've been in this country since time immemorial, and it shouldn't be going down like this. Point blank, period. And it's like this because we've allowed it to be this way. And enough is enough. I'm going to play a little bit more of this and then I'm going to be out of here because I said I was only going to be on here for 2 hours. So let me go ahead. Let me let her finish.
Embracing all of their policies, and their policies have been detrimental to Black America. They need to get away from that embrace of all these policies that are the detriment. So what I'm thinking, they're not doing their homework. They're not reading this cast your bucket where you are. Cast down your bucket where they're not reading this history. They're being superficial. They're just watching the television and going along with what the politicians say. That is not sufficient.
This raises a point I wanted to bring up, a question basically, and it's really, I mean, we've been touching on the issue, but a century ago or more, the top Black leaders in the country were critical in different ways, but critical of immigration. Whether it was Booker T. Washington or Du Bois, who were pretty much diametrically opposed in every way you could imagine.
Let me take it back to my girl.
Journal every morning. All they have on there is establishment news.
Later on, because donors who were a big source of their funding, like you're suggesting, said, yeah, we don't want to hear any more of that. So,
well, I mean, let's just face it. This is the truth. The establishment does not have the interest of America or Americans. The media, the politicians are the establishment, uniparty, both parties. The media is the establishment. I watch Washington Journal every morning. All they have on there is establishment news. The government is supposed to be by we, the people. We are in charge, not the politicians, not the establishment. So it's topsy-turvy, okay? The American people are being gaslit by the politicians because the documentation is substantiated. The positions from the 1800s, it hasn't changed. It's only gotten worse. Things have gotten worse. So we need, and all the folks that call into Washington Journal, they believe in this. They believe the politicians. This is very naive. This is very gullible. The politicians do not have your interests because they are the establishment. You must do research outside of what you hear on TV and find out what's going on because the politicians don't have your interests. They have the establishment's interests. And it's so clear now. I mean, what we're witnessing now with this cognitive decline of Biden. I mean, this is the biggest cover-up in American history.
Come on.
I mean, this is the
I cooked them for that. I said, y'all sitting up there acting like this man brain wasn't bust out the entire time he in office. Y'all sitting up there acting like he wasn't sick as a dog or something. And of course, she's able to go and get things signed into law for her Asian people. I mean, just simpleton behavior.
Just cover up in American history. I mean,
the biggest cover up in American history is that the Black Americans or the African Americans are the true indigenous people of this land. That's the biggest cover up. But this one is a close second. Okay.
Witnessing now with this cognitive decline of Biden. I mean, this is the biggest cover up in American history. And why did it happen? We have to ask ourselves, how did this take place that the media was sort of in cahoots with covering this up? What does this say to us? What does this tell us about the media and the establishment? What do we learn from this?
I think the one thing, I'm sorry, I'm gonna stop, but the one thing I would add is don't underestimate the fact that a lot of people just like the issue. I have an issue, and this issue is actually profitable for me. So I'm not going to really work hard to get rid of it, even though there's always another issue. That's the thing. There's always another. Get past this basic problem. I mean, we're just at Maslow's, basic needs right now. There's other issues that need to be solved, but this is like a small step in, the evolution of what can be in terms of prosperity and what the American dream is about. But there's a lot of Black elites on both sides of the aisle that just like to be able to talk about the issue. They don't want it to be solved.
Well, and Black Americans reduce everything to racism. And the political left, the Democratic Party, reduces everything to racism. That's not sufficient. That's superficial, that's shallow. You got to go deeper. Other things are taking place. You can't reduce everything to racism because everything is not racism. There are other issues. Economic issues are more important, I think.
Before we get to the next question, I just wanted to make sure we, first of all, re-emphasize Black America for Immigration Reform. And the website is protectblackworkers.org. And
Economics.
yes, exactly. Economic. And do you guys have a Twitter handle yet? Or
No, I don't have
okay.
a Twitter handle.
You have a Twitter handle,
Yeah,
right?
I'm the former radio host of the Naked Truth Report. Now I'm the executive director
Right.
of BAIR.
And you're on Twitter at Kathleen TNTR,
Right, because I used to have the Naked Truth Report
Right,
radio
right.
show for 5 years, and Roy was a guest on my show. We discussed his book, Back of the Hiring Line. This is another important issue that I want to point out in his book is that the Statue of Liberty was meant for the newly freed slaves and their descendants. So it wasn't meant, the Statue of Liberty is not meant for immigrants. It's for the newly freed slaves and their descendants. So you see, the establishment confuses everything. This is what I think.
We did have a question I wanted to get in, and this is about sort of occupational segregation or racism. And I'm filling in a little here from the question, but decades ago, unions froze Black workers out of certain sort of better paying like trades, sort of higher level, whatever it was, carpentry and stuff like that. It was hard to break in. That obviously doesn't exist anymore, but does large scale immigration almost kind of recreate that phenomenon where it's hard to say, if you're a young Black man, to get into, to break into construction, if it's almost like there's a cartel of illegal immigrants or even just immigrants in general being hired. So in other words, the union halls don't have to say, Blacks aren't allowed here, we're not going to hire them, because immigration kind of does the same job without having to write it down.
Yeah, and I'd say the first rung of the ladder issue is so key to this is
The other lady from being able to get
The other lady was getting mad at her though.
Interesting.
And this happened.
You see the prejudice?
Countless.
But this is human nature, right?
It was even the job when I was in California, because I didn't speak Spanish. So once you start hiring illegal immigrants, or you hire one or two, then he will actually prevent African Americans from getting in, even if they want to. So there's a
That's why I wasn't really letting her talk.
as a group will lie, even in the college.
Longest. So these other groups that have
Asian to be able to get in, even though I was actually a honor student. Each time they had more barriers to stop me from being able to get in.
But this is human nature,
So they create
right?
that.
This is human nature, how human
Very.
nature works. And this is why I'm saying white Americans and Black Americans matter, because they've been in the country longest. So these other groups that have just come subsequent to the 1964 Immigration Act, they're trying to get their foothold in America. But Black Americans and white Americans should be priority, because we've been here since the 1600s, since its founding. We should be priority. Yeah, you can get your group thing going, but this is human nature, okay? But it's about heritage. It's about how long we've been in the country, and we are the descendants of the ancestors who's been here since the founding of America. We should not be second rate. We should not be second class citizens, because our ancestors paid the price already to help build America. Am I right?
That's right.
And this is, and again,
She was cooking. She overall, she handled her business up here. And they could say whatever they want, but she handled her business up here.
the Black grassroots, the polling has shown
Stayed on the lineage, on the heritage.
for years, the majority of the Black grassroots, which means the majority of Black Democrats, that's what they've been doing for the last yeah, but the business community plays well for
Right,
keeping
it
the
does.
flow of those workers.
I want to add this.
I liked her too with the braids,
Immigration Act
but
was passed a year after the Civil Rights Act.
But
the Immigration Act was passed a year after the Civil Rights Act. Listen, so everything needs to be reassessed and reexamined. Everything, even the to be looked at again. Do you think Martin Luther King would be happy with that? Black Americans only have 25% two-parent households. Do you think Martin Luther King would be happy that Black America is now facing zero median wealth by 2053? Do you think Martin Luther King would be happy that 40% of the homeless in Los Angeles are Black Americans? Do you think Martin Luther King would be happy that the Democratic Party said that, you know, we're all people of color now, we're all people of color against white folks? Even if the white Americans, white conservatives, because Black Democrats are pro-white liberals, and white liberals pump free sex feminism, sexual revolution, which destroyed the Black family, destroying all families. So we need to go back and re-examine everything that we've been told. Okay,
Donna?
Well, you know, the thing that I like to add is they always disguise civil rights with intended consequences to cause people to be in constant states of survival so that they can control. Don't always think because they said, oh, we're going to, you know, give you this great mass immigration that is going to help you. No, they know that that's going to immediately cause chaos in the community. It's immediately cause trauma for families, for individuals trying to figure out who they are and how they build their way up.
man, I'm telling you, once that slave narrative get out of everybody's head, they gonna be all right. They gonna be all right. But those ladies ain't do nothing but speak facts on top of facts. And I just kind of wanted to go down memory lane real quick and kind of just talk about what led up to this situation in Chicago. What led up to those agents going into that building, that same community? What led up to that? So we all have to understand everything from the beginning, you know, understand the history, understand the reasoning behind things, and not be so quick that we just run with narratives. We run with narratives, and I think those things need to really stop. They do. So that's all I got for y'all. I got a couple of more quizzes I have to do today and get my work done and everything like that. You know, I've been working on this literature review, y'all. It's supposed to be between 5 and 7 pages. I'm on 4 pages. I think I'm gonna make it 7 pages just to put the professor to work, period. Okay. And yeah, y'all just know what it is. I just kind of wanted to talk about this. This immigration thing has been an issue for quite some time. I think it's something that has really hindered us and not helped us at any capacity. And I think it just shows what it is. And I think that we need to continue to stay on next about who we are in this land and make sure they never forget it. Like somebody tried to come for me, oh, you a Native American. Oh, you think you Native American. So he tried to make it seem like because I think I'm Native American or some shit, as if I couldn't comment on the issues in my community. First of all, I had to let him know I'm not a Native American. And I never said that to you. Did I say my people were American Indian? Absolutely. And I had to correct him on that. Don't test my soul. Because my people are the true indigenous. And my people with the same complexion as me are continuing to go through these things in this society right now, present day. The ones who were reclassified and going through all types of turmoil, redlining, being disenfranchised from jobs and top positions. We see this all the time. So, you know, it just is what it is, okay? Don't test me ever in life. I don't play those kinds of games. But I had a great time. You know, normally I wish I would go a little bit longer and everything and open up the panel. But, you know, if I open up the panel next thing you know, I'm going to look up, it's going to be 10 o'clock, okay? So, you know, maybe I'll find a day where I'm a little bit more free and can do some more stuff. But I've just been trying to come a little bit more and just drop some stuff, drop my thoughts, my views, you know what I'm saying, on these issues and these topics, you know what I'm saying? So y'all stay safe out there, you know what I'm saying? Don't let nobody upset you. Always remember that you are the higher being, the higher spirit, and just never forget that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have a long way to go, you know, but we see a huge mass wake up call that's been happening on our people. And I'm just really, really happy about that. Like, I know it has taken a long time and it's been a long time coming, but we're going to continue to break these doors down. You right, Lady Spade, clean house. Y'all got to go home and build up y'all own land and stop trying to reap the benefits off of our people who built this land. Stop it. So on that note, shout out to you, Zay. Zay, baby. Woo! Because they said you tore it down last night on Smoke Signal Show. Hey, Aton. 203 Low Game. Wild Card Indian. Beast of Burden. What's up, Beast of Burden? It's good to see you in the chat again, giving your opinion. Old Dude, peace and love. Usually when I see you, Old Dude, I see Nunya. She probably over there at Live. Tim Washington, peace to you. And I just thank all the people who support me and bang with me. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you guys. There go say Cash App as always, you know. But I just appreciate you guys so much. You know, you have no idea. Like, I love getting on this YouTube space, being able to express my thoughts. But not only that, like, try to bring it all to a medium where we can all understand what's being done around here, what's being said, and how we can put it in context and apply it. Because I think a lot of times, you know, and sometimes we spend a lot of time, you know, at each other's throat. But in reality, the mission needs to be the same. The mission needs to be moving forward. It needs to be ongoing. And that's just the truth. So, you know, I hope I can see us out here speaking out more about our lineage and our genealogy and sticking to that. I don't care, you know, I don't care about any of that other extra stuff. You know, everything should be about the people who built this land, who sacrificed the most in this land, who've toiled, who've shed many a tears, everything. You know what I'm saying? Enough is enough. It's not right, the things that we're seeing. So we put an end to it. We're stopping it. And we're going to speak out on it every chance that we get, whether people like it or not. Oh. So on that note, let me go ahead, y'all. Y'all be safe out here in these streets. I love y'all down. Please like the video on your way out if you didn't like it. Subscribe to the channel if you didn't subscribe. And, you know, just look forward to more heat. Yes, be blissful and cold ice. Y'all heard her. Peace out. Y'all be safe.